Right, let's give it a go.
Hello. Sorry, Joe.
Oh,
Sorry, Nick.
beat me to it. Hello, welcome to Dictating Terms. Welcome back to the program. My name is Nick Milligan, and with me as always is our resident psychologist, Joe Duffy. How are you, Joe?
Good. I'm just trying to get comfortable.
Yeah.
Just trying to adjust in my seat.
Okay. All right. There's a little...
You're not happy with it?
Oh, I just wasn't really ready.
The seat wasn't ready.
Well, I don't know. Hadn't checked myself before I...
Well, that's okay. All right.
Started.
Everything's in place where it needs to be?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Here, of course, with world-renowned philosopher Mitch Power. Mitchell, how are you?
Nick? Joe?
Mitch, Nick,
Viewers?
Batman.
Batman and the Rat, wherever that
Rat.
is.
He's around somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. He's watching.
He goes
always...
quiet when we're recording. He knows there's an episode on and he's very respectful.
If only the neighbour was the same.
Yeah. You got the mower on, hasn't he?
He got the mower on.
Actually, he's just cut it off.
I think he's doing the far side of the lawn. So we all got together, all ready to record, and bloke across the road fires up the lawnmower.
Pink Floyd album? Was it the Far Side? No.
Far Side of the Lawn?
Dark Side of the Moon, wasn't it?
Far Side of
Different
the
album.
Lawn was
Different
the
album.
unreleased sequel to that album, I think.
The later years.
Yeah, when they all had yards.
Write an album about it. Go on then. Quit whinging about it. Put it down.
So we've got lots to talk about again. There's been a huge thing happen in the world of music. I don't know whether you've heard about this, but the great Keith Richards. Is he Sir Keith Richards, I think?
Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We should look that up. He has quit smoking at the age of 76. The man that death forgot has called it quits on the ciggies. He's drawn a line in the sand and said, no, it's time to get fit. I've got my future to think about. He will have probably lived to the age of about 260, as everyone is predicting. And yeah, he's called time on the ciggies. Mitch, you just got a tattoo of him with lit cigarette. What was your sort of thoughts when you first heard this?
I forgot about that. I did.
Are you going to get the cigarette removed from the tattoo?
No, I like it.
Put a little
I
vape
like it
there
because
instead.
that symbolises him, and he doesn't look the same without a cigarette in his mouth. But obviously now he doesn't have one. But I think it's a good thing, especially for people not to look up to him and see with a cigarette out of their mouth is a cool thing, you know, all the damages it can do. It's just, I know it's not the smartest thing to do, smoking, is it? But I was a smoker for a while, so I shouldn't. I don't judge anyone. If you want to smoke, smoke. I won't judge you. So sorry about that. I'm not trying to come across as judgmental, you know. But yeah, good on him. Good on him for doing it. Because you think he'd be thinking to himself, "What I've done this long, it must be working for me now," you know. So
Yeah, do you think it's risky
yeah,
at this age of his life? How old did you say he was? 76?
76.
To stop? Because I feel like at this point, like, whatever he's done, you just got to keep doing it because you've survived this long.
yeah.
You've got to do that, yeah.
They reckon when you smoke for a certain amount of time, just keep going.
Yeah.
Go to your doctor first before. I know I said that, but yeah.
You don't know.
Well, Google, that might be advice that doctors give these days. Look, just stick with what you're doing if you live to that age. I know Ozzy Osbourne, I was reading years ago, there was some university that actually, he gave them some of his DNA because they wanted to study what, you know, his makeup and how he has survived what he has put in his body. I don't know whether they've done that with Keith.
He's barely surviving, Ozzy.
Well, yeah, but he's done a lot of stuff, as has Keith, I imagine.
Yeah.
And,
Ozzy is in trouble, isn't he? I think
he just cancelled some shows, Ozzy, so he might be a crook. I don't want to, you know...
No, he is crook.
Put the kibosh on him, but...
Yeah.
Shouldn't have given away that DNA. He probably needed it.
He needed every little bit.
He's missing something.
That he hadn't destroyed. But, yeah, I mean, I guess some people might look at Keith as a role model. I think if he is your lifestyle role model, you probably aren't long for this world. There's not many Keith Richards out there, or Keith Richards, as some should pronounce it. But
Not knighted either. He turned it down.
Did he really?
Yeah, and he thought that Mick Jagger should have turned it down too.
He wasn't happy that Mick took it?
No.
Oh, okay.
What did Mick take, sorry, Joe?
And he accepted a knighthood.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Mick's taken everything, including a knighthood. And I love that the knighthood was the one thing that Keith Richards refused to take.
Yeah, I know. What does it do? It doesn't do anything.
How high does it get me?
Yeah.
And for how long? Yeah, well, good on you, Keith. He's a great role model. Apparently, he said to... he was talking about it in an interview. Apparently, he's finding it really difficult to quit, as you can imagine. Because he said, I just light them without even thinking. It's just part of my daily ritual. And he recalled a conversation he had with the late, great Lou Reed, who was saying that quitting cigarettes was harder to quit than heroin. And he said that's definitely the case.
Because he's probably also done heroin and he had to give that up as well.
I imagine he has, yeah.
Yeah, he can talk about it because he's
He's done it all.
he's done it all.
Yeah.
As a side note, I kind of like that the run of shows that the Rolling Stones have booked is called the No Filter Tour. It seems appropriate.
Yeah,
No tobacco and no filter.
Did Keith, was he roll your own, or was he a tailor-made man?
I thought he rolled his own.
Let's have a look at the tat, Mitch. Does it look like a rollie or does it look like a filter? Has it got a...
I think it looks like a...
It might be a rollie. So for everyone listening and not watching, we're now studying Mitch's fresh tat.
It's hard to say. It's
hard
hard
to
really
tell from there.
Get a feel for it.
Yeah, the cigarette's on an unusual angle. But anyway, good luck to Keith on his no cigarette journey. He's probably got about 1,000 patches glued to his body, I imagine.
Oh, he's all patch.
He's more patch than man at this point. Sort of funny little segue. We were discussing earlier the 27 Club and all the celebrities that have died at the age of 27. It is quite a compelling figure.
Not to be confused with the S Club 7, which is a different club of which there are less members as time goes on.
Yeah, that was a club in which their careers died at a very early age. More so than
never to be revived,
never to be resuscitated.
The age of 27 too.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of your favourites, Mitch, Jimi Hendrix and Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones, Kurt Cobain, Joe's all-time favourites.
Yeah, that Amy Winehouse,
Winehouse, Michael Basquiat,
Johnson. Remember Robert Johnson, the old sold his soul to the devil.
Yeah, at the Crossroads.
Crossroads.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He was 27.
Yeah,
and some other people that were probably 27, but no one really they get a shout out in Wikipedia, but no one really get that upset about it.
You'd be shaking like a leaf,
Family
wouldn't
might,
you?
but if
well, I remember when I turned 27, I wasn't really looking after myself as well as I should have been.
No.
It does cross your mind. It's a bit of a
I was thinking, is this it? Is this it? I need to do something of note so that people will be like, oh, another one.
I didn't go near any bathtubs or any heroin or really, really strong sleeping tablets. I avoided those three things until I was 28.
There's a guy here
right
called
back on them.
Fat Pat that died. He was a member of the club.
Oh, no.
But he was murdered. I don't know if that counts. Also, he was fat, so I don't know if,
he was overweight.
You're not looking after yourself.
Yeah, that's no good.
He was very close to being 28, so he was about 2 months off.
What about Mama Cass? Did she survive 28? She was a larger individual.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not seeing her name there.
No, maybe she...
Some of these deaths, some of gastritis, that's not how you want to go with the... Jane Goody was cervical cancer. I don't know who she is.
So it sounds like the age of 27 doesn't really discriminate.
No.
It's such a shame, but because they're at the height of their fame. They got all the money in the world, there's so many songs they could have recorded after that age, and it just seems, but I suppose it's a good way to go when you're on top, isn't it?
Better to burn out than fade away, as Neil Young said.
Who didn't die at 27.
Yeah. Ironically, I think he was being ironic.
Kim Jong-hyun.
Yeah.
Suicide by carbon monoxide poisoning. Well, he was North Korean, is it?
He was,
was
probably,
he murdered by his brother or something, Kim Jong-un? Does that count?
It says he was the lead vocalist and lyricist of Shinee, the band Shinee. So we'll have to look more into Kim Jong-hyun. Anton Yelchin, of course, the great young actor, died at 27 as well. He was crushed by his car against the front of his house. So.
And just a funny little fact, that band Shinee, all the audience members always wore sunglasses. Sorry.
Their star shone bright for a brief time.
Shiny.
Yeah, they wore a lot of polish. Yeah, a lot of polish. But any thoughts, Mitch, generally? It's just a bit of a rough one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those things. Maybe it is something to do with the age, and I know 27's not old, but when you've been hammering your body, if it's like that since your early 20s, maybe sort of just an age thing that your body says, I've had enough.
Well, a few of them.
But I mean, all of them are different ways of death, isn't it?
Yeah, but particularly with the big rock stars, they were probably being a little bit reckless with their. They'd come into money and fame, and
and no one can tell these guys no. I don't think after a while. I think that's where a lot of the big stars, even athletes, and that get into trouble. You haven't got a mate to pull you aside and say you're going too far.
Yeah,
a lot of yes men.
Yeah.
So that's probably the case for a lot of them. Janis Joplin, it says drug overdose, and then in brackets probably heroin. That's what you want. just to not be sure.
hard to
Probably
know.
heroin. Yeah, I don't know, doctor, but I don't really know.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things. I mean, I think in the case of Jimi Hendrix, he took like a whole bottle of something. And I think it's because the directions were in French, I believe. Or maybe that was Morrison. No, I think it was Hendrix. He was in Europe and he drowned. He went to sleep. He'd had like a lot of red wine, been to a party, came home, and just took like a whole bottle of sleeping tablets. It never seemed to sort of follow the prescription, even if it was in English, or even just common sense.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. If it's regardless of what language it's in, usually they don't say, the directions don't say take the whole bottle, unless it's a bottle of like Yakult or something.
Yeah, they kind of measured out pretty much in the portions in which you should be taking them.
Yeah, I think so. But that's that's why they're rock
Hendrix
stars.
doesn't seem like one of these guys, but have a little line on his wine glass for the standard drink.
No.
He wouldn't follow that, no. If he went into a restaurant and they stuck to the line, I mean, he loved lines, but no, not on a wine glass.
No.
So, yeah, no, it's an interesting one. And luckily the great Keith Richards has gone way past 27. It was 3 times that age. So it just goes to show, kids, drugs aren't as bad as the 27 Club would have you think.
He's probably out there smoking cigarettes and avoiding all this sort of stuff, because it sounds like a lot of them misadventure and heroin and stuff. So he's just like, well, I'm just smoking darts. So like he can't smoke a whole pack of darts in one go.
Nah.
They're in French, so I smoked all 25 of the cigarettes at once.
He probably just followed doctor's orders too. He was just sensible about it.
Yeah.
You know, that's all you got to do.
Yep.
But one of the other things that's happened recently in the news, which again has divided the internet in a kind of in a similar way to our last episode and the whole public outrage thing, everyone has weighed in on an opinion. But you may have seen a video of a woman on trying to think which plane company. I can't even think of the bloody airline it was.
It was probably a Boeing plane.
Yeah, probably a Boeing plane. It wasn't a helicopter. Yeah, but she reclined her seat and the guy behind her took offense to it and just started punching the back of her seat repeatedly. And she started filming it. And the video has gone up online and people have taken sides. Some people are with the guy, that it's totally okay to punch someone's seat. And other people are saying that is intimidation and towards women in particular. I tend to fall on that side of the argument. But we'll get into the nitty gritty of it. But generally, do you guys have a problem with reclining the seat? I mean, they're made to recline.
Yeah.
Is there an issue with that? Mitch, you've been on many planes.
Oh, I just don't like to do it because I'm worried that person's behind me. I'm more worried about them and am I doing the wrong thing? Is this too far back? Like, even if I'm comfortable, I wouldn't be comfortable because I'd be worried about their feelings.
Mm.
Yeah, okay. So
You know what I mean?
that's you in general, though. You do care about other people. You're a very sensitive individual.
Oh, yeah, but I'd just be paranoid. Am I pissing this bloke off? Is he thinking I should be? So I'd rather just sit forward than just go sleep sitting up.
You actually recline your seat the other way. You sort of fold yourself forward 45 degrees just so as not to offend the person behind you.
Yeah, I'll just completely pop the disc in my lower back. At least another person behind me is not upset.
That way they can put their feet up and have a good time,
Yeah.
and you're not feeling anxious about offending them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
How about you, Joe?
I think it depends on the length of the flight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
If you're going,
that's true.
flying for an hour
Yeah.
or two, you don't really need to recline. But if you're flying on a long haul flight and the person behind you is going to recline too, I mean, everyone should just recline. It should be just, everyone, we're reclining our seats now.
Yep.
Recline. If you don't want to recline, well, don't complain.
Yeah, I feel like a long haul flight is sort of like a game of Guess Who in a way. Everyone's sort of just back slightly, and then they're slowly flipped forward and they're dead. But yeah, no, I'm the same. I mean, I think if it's a 1 hour flight, I probably don't even think to recline my seat. But long haul flight, of course, you've got to try to get some sleep, and it's one way to do it. And if everyone's reclined, it's fine. But if someone doesn't want to recline, then you're going to have some chair in your face.
Yeah, but also they don't recline that far.
No.
You're not getting horizontal. Like it reclines a little bit. You can recline your seats down and you go, oh, wow, that made a huge difference. I mean, it's better, but at the same time, it's like, you're not going to be like right up in your face like that.
Nah. I think it's the makers of the aircraft's fault as well. I think they just do make the seats just a little bit too close to each other.
It's just the people's fault for being poor.
Oh,
and
that's
not being
true.
able to fly first class.
So the manufacturers are kind of encouraging hostility between people, you think?
Oh, they're just trying to say, you have all this comfort, we're going to cram as much in as possible, and you can't have both. I think they're trying to
That's true.
Yeah.
dip their end in, not dip their end. What's that say?
have their cake and eat it too. I don't know. They reckon that the economy size.
Are they trying to dip their end in? That's more a term.
Yeah, that is a term. I'm not.
When you're going out,
I guess
on the town with
Dip
some
your end
boys.
in 2 pies or something.
If they have their fingers in more than one pie,
pies,
they're trying to finger 2 pies.
Yeah.
Trying to finger
Sorry.
too many
Yeah,
pies.
just trying to finger too many pies. Yeah, trying to get their end in too many pies.
They have said that the economy size has actually reduced over time, I think, of airlines. Like, they're not as comfortable as they used to be because they just squeeze more and more.
So whilst humans get bigger, the planes get smaller.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
What was the size of this guy that was...
Oh, he looked like a regular looking dude. He wasn't overweight. He looked like a regular guy, but
wasn't behaving like one?
I know. I mean, first of all, I just want to say that it is intimidating behaviour. Like, because there are people online saying, "Oh, he wasn't even punching the seat that hard," as if that's the point of it. Like, he was punching the seat in order to intimidate her to put her seat forward. It is in every aspect intimidating behaviour.
I guess you have to work out whether or not he was doing it because she was a woman, or whether he would have done it regardless of the person that was.
You'd have to think
if Shaquille O'Neal was sitting in front of him, he wouldn't be in economy, but he probably wouldn't be punching the seat.
Shaquille O'Neal would not fit in a regular plane seat. No, but if it was a big guy, I doubt he would have been punching the back of the seat. I doubt he would have said anything, in fact.
He'd been one of the ones that you've got to be if the plane goes down to open up the... they get more leg room if the...
Yeah, Shaq could be put by the emergency exit, you think. Yeah.
Pop his legs out the door. Have him dangling out the window.
Well, he could just sort of almost... as the plane's coming in to crash, he could nearly just hang out the side and almost bring the plane to a stop with his feet.
Like the Flintstones.
Like the Flintstones, yeah. So you kind of want Shaq there on one of the wings to bring you in. But, I mean, look, the other thing is that the technology with these seats is, while you are crammed in, the tray, the service tray, does tilt with the seat and does keep its sort of equilibrium. So you can still balance a drink even when a seat is tilted. And so does the TV screen. For you in-flight movies also tilts. So, and the reason for that is that the seat in front of you can tilt without really affecting too much of your experience. But
maybe to ask the person first, is that all right if I do that?
That's the thing. You could have said, I'm sure all of this could have been avoided if he said, "Do you mind?" And then if she'd said whatever reason, she might have had a reason.
Well, apparently what happened was, she went to tilt her seat, and he actually said to her, this because I saw her interviewed on American morning television, and because it's gone quite big, this story. And he said to her, "Look, food service is about to happen. Could you please not tilt your seat because I need to eat?" And she went, "No worries." And then waited and then tilted the seat. So she did give him a bit of a window
Really?
there. Yeah. And at that point, he started kicking up a stink. And she's like, "Well, no, I want to tilt my seat." And then she complained to the stewardesses, and they were apologetic to him. And kept saying, "Oh, I hope you're okay, sir. I hope you're okay." Gave him a free drink as well.
Really?
Yeah, so very much took his side. And she's there going, he's punching the back of my seat. And apparently before she started filming too, because during the video, he's doing it just hard enough for it to be really annoying. But before that, apparently he was really banging the seat. I mean, that's just her version. That's not on camera. But so it's really divided people. But I am a little bit shocked that a lot of men are condoning this bloke's behaviour. I mean, some people you encounter, particularly on public transport or private transport like planes, are dickheads. You're always going to have dickheads. There's only so much you can do before you become a dickhead yourself.
That's what I love about social media is that it doesn't matter what the issue is, it's always so divisive. And you have the initial post, and then once you go below that, it's just a clusterfuck of people with opinions. You could have someone could announce some policy where we're going to go and murder every female baby in the world, and there'd be people going, "That's really bit extreme, bit harsh. Should we murder all the babies? Like, why are we doing this?" And then there'd be others that would be like, "Well, of course we fucking should." They take that side, and they would be like,
just to be contrarians.
You'd get that. No matter what the issue is, no matter what it is, there's always going to be someone like, "No, fuck off, you're wrong about that." Yeah,
I imagine when King Herod wanted all the firstborn sons killed when he heard Jesus was happening. I imagine the people were like, "Oh well, we're overpopulated." Some other take.
They're noisy anyway. They're always whinging about stuff and
always crying on planes.
Yeah, trying to chop their foreskin off. That's just another job you got to do. Get rid of them. Who needs them? Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's if someone tilts their plane seat in front of you and that annoys you, you just got to suck it up. That's the long and short of it. If you ask them and they do it anyway, well, fuck.
Yeah, but you just don't know what the reasons are that people would be needing to recline this. Maybe they got a bad back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason for it.
Maybe
Maybe
he-
you're just a fuckwit.
Maybe he's got a reason. Maybe his girlfriend was killed by a reclining plane seat or something. You don't know. Maybe he's got some reason we don't know about. But certainly it seemed like I was pretty concerned with the wave of support for the bloke punching the seat. It doesn't bode
Maybe
well.
he could have joined her in her seat and both reclined it together. So then, like a double bed sort of thing.
And she sort of sits on his lap. And they just sort of spoon in a seated position. I don't think there was a spare seat next to him. I think
No, but I mean,
They share a
if he
seat.
lies and she just lies rested on his shoulder, like on top.
well, he's behind her.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
I'm being.
Could they have swapped seats so that she's
No, well, I
behind him?
think the issue also was that he was at the end of the row,
ah?
so his seat didn't recline.
Okay.
So that's part of it. So he couldn't really recline away as other people may have been able to. So his room was constricted, but still.
Well, he won't book that ticket again on that seat.
No.
Remember when you
No.
flew to the States and my girlfriend, just luck of the draw with seating and stuff.
Yeah,
I
it
think
can
we
be,
were
yeah.
at the back. I'm pretty sure we were, but we were in the middle. So there was me on the right and my partner in the middle, and then this giant fat guy who was wearing a shirt that was about 3 sizes too small. His family were on the other side of the aisle, and he was.
And so was
he
he
was-
partially by the sound.
Yeah, he big boy, and he was like sleeping. He met quite a good sleeper, and he was just like tossing and turning and like rolling over, and she had to keep shuffling over
Yeah.
to like to me but it's just unfortunate.
Like the armrest is just gone at this point. It's just
Yeah.
it's disappeared.
Yeah,
Into
her
the
head was
flesh.
the armrest, and
Yeah.
yeah, and he's just rolling over and facing her and snoring. But it's like
Oh.
that sucks. But I'm not going to swap. But also that sucks, and
There's
that's
nothing
just-
you can do.
That's just economy.
It is the luck of the draw. If you
Yeah.
can't afford first class and have a bed and all the rest of it. I mean, I've been lucky on a few long haul flights where there's been no one in my row, really. You can actually sprawl out, but other times not. You are crammed in like sardines.
Mm.
Yeah, and pretty helpless. But anyway. Yeah.
Sometimes people are just dickheads. It sounds like
They
he
are.
was just a dickhead.
Yeah, he was. He was. And maybe she was partially being a dickhead, maybe. But still, suck it up, I reckon.
A dickhead who was comfortable.
Yeah, at least she was comfortable.
Yeah.
Now, before we close out this nice, tight episode of Dictating Terms, we are trying to keep it tight because some people have told us that we just rabbit on for too long and all that kind of thing. We do listen to the feedback. We do take it on board.
Some of it.
Apparently, we talk about cock and balls too much as well with some feedback we received.
But that's compared to like my normal life. We don't talk about that much at all.
No, we tone it down, the cock and ball
One of
talk.
those crazy people you see walking the streets muttering about cock and balls when I'm just walking to the groceries. Dicks, cocks and balls. Scrotum.
Testicles.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a conversation in Mitch's Google Home from a previous episode.
Yeah.
Remember that story? We talked about it on previous podcasts where the young lads that you live with were talking to is it Google
Oh
Home?
yeah. That's right.
What's a testicle?
Oh yeah.
And she's giving them very concise graphic
right,
responses. Yeah, in an educational
Yeah,
manner.
we did talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so we are trying to keep it tight, and we're rabbiting on again right
Because we
now.
know people are got busy lives, you know.
Yeah,
So we just-
and they will tune out at some point.
yeah.
Sometimes you can have too much quality.
Yeah.
You can. But yeah, we're going to just quickly talk about this film that's coming out because me and Joe in particular are massive, massive fans of a film called The Big Lebowski by the Coen brothers. There's actually I don't know if it's that visible, but there's a poster here on the wall of it. and
Poster
it's
behind Mitch. There's another poster inside the ping pong room.
ping pong suite. Huge fans of it. I personally think it's one of the greatest films ever written. It's a masterpiece. It's just on its own really plain, isn't it?
And I think it is all those things you said.
Yeah,
It's my favourite.
And we quote it quite a lot, and we watch it quite a lot. There is a spin-off coming out, which is called The Jesus Rolls, and it's a spin-off of a character played by John Turturro, and he has a brief but incredibly memorable cameo in the movie as a character called Jesus, and he's got a Spanish last name. I should have it in front of me here somewhere, but I don't. And he appears very briefly in the movie as a competitor in one of the bowling competitions, which the dude and Walter Solchak take very seriously. And there's a great montage of him getting his ball nice and shiny.
Yeah.
To I think it's the Gypsy Kings' cover of Hotel California. It's just a wonderful piece of filmmaking. And John Turturro has actually written a screenplay and is directing a spin-off movie which will feature the Jesus Quintana, his name is, and he's the focus of the film, which I think is sort of exciting for Big Lebowski fans, potentially because John Turturro is a very great filmmaker and very great writer. He does really quality work. And I imagine that he would not revisit this sort of very sacred character unless he's got a really brilliant concept for the screenplay. The interesting thing is, though, that as people that know the movie will know, is that Jesus Quintana is a convicted pedophile.
He's a pederast. Yeah, 8-year-olds, dude.
8-year-olds, yeah.
Yeah, he had to go door to door and tell everyone that he was a pederast.
Yeah, so he's moved, and there's a little cutaway sort of flashback of him knocking on one of the doors and a big dude opening the door.
Yeah, it's like a bikie or something.
And he's got so part of his, I guess, the rules of him living in this community is that he has to go around and fess up. I don't know whether they make people do that.
Yeah, it feels like it's... I mean, it's one way to get rid of him, I suppose. Yeah. Well, we did see him for a while there. He was going door to door, but he sort of stopped, and we haven't seen him since.
Yeah. So, I mean, interesting one. Joe, what were your immediate thoughts when you heard they were making this film?
I'm always very skeptical of things that happen.
In general.
Yeah, because I'm a cynical person. So spin-offs I always have a bit of a funny feeling about. And sequels, if there was never a sequel intended, I'm always very skeptical. And I feel like most of the time that skepticism is well placed. But I do like John Turturro and I do love the character. And I do think it'd be interesting because there's been calls over the years for like a sequel or something. Yeah. And they've said no, they're not going to do it. And I don't think they should. But the idea of this coming out, it's exciting. It's something to watch. But as you say, it's sort of...
Yeah, the guy... I mean, look... he's a convicted pedophile in the movie, so we have to assume he probably is, unless they're going to somehow take away that backstory and give some explanation or somehow get him off the hook.
Which you can't really do.
No.
Because it kind of damages the legacy of the previous film.
Yeah, it does.
If you rewrite it.
So, look, it'd be very, very interesting to see how it is handled, particularly in the current climates. How you feature a pedophile as the lead in, I imagine, what'll be a black comedy of sorts.
Yeah. Hey Dad had a pedophile as the lead in that, but that was before the allegations and the convictions that came out. Yeah. Also, his character wasn't a pedophile.
No.
I mean, it was the 80s/90s. You get away with a bit more, but even then, they sort of downplayed the whole being a pedophile. They cut a lot of that stuff out.
So it's sort of...
The DVD extras, you can see it all, but like in the ones that aired...
The ones that aired,
with Betty and Nudge and all those guys, there's no pedophilia at all.
The clue, of course, was in the title because there was an exclamation mark, which was like, "Hey, Dad!"
Yeah,
"Hey, Dad!"
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The clue was there. I mean, this is sort of like as if someone was making a sequel to "Hey, Dad," like a revisit of the show in the present day where he is a pedophile, and to sort of continuing the show with that fact in place.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they make it work because having a pedophile lead it's bold. It's bold. And I guess like people do love the original character, so they're probably banking on that quite a bit. And it's always nice when they can sort of make someone who's not that likable be likable. But I mean, I don't know. There's no Joseph Fritzl movies coming out, is there? And if there was,
not that we're aware of, who would play Joseph Fritzl?
Who could pull it off, so to speak? Do you think?
Oh,
he's still alive, isn't he?
Christoph Waltz or someone? I don't know.
It
has to be someone. He was German, wasn't he? I think he is still alive.
Yeah, but then no one's going to get upset that you're whitewashing a Joseph Fritzl movie with someone who's not actually Austrian or German or
that'd be
whatever.
a tricky film.
That was an atrocity, that, wasn't
it?
it?
It was nasty business. I'm just thinking that if there was a Hey Dad spin-off or a sequel, would there still be like a Nudge type character visiting? Just coming through the door.
Yeah, one of his mates, this random guy's rocking up. Who's this guy? It's Uncle Nudge.
Nudge's son. Maybe Nudge's son is in it, and he just comes over, and then he always walks into frame, and then you see like his mother's hands will appear in frame and kind of wrench him out of the scene. It's just like a running gag. Like, don't enter that house.
No. Well, they had that other kid in the later seasons, Arthur MacArthur, I think his name might have been.
Arthur MacArthur.
He was the little fat kid that used to come and visit all the time as well.
Right.
Which, like red flags.
In hindsight,
yeah.
What was happening when the credits started rolling?
And he was an architect, and he had all that time in the office, and he's always, I'm busy architecting. And then he had those glasses.
Why did he work downstairs in the basement though?
Yeah, you don't even have a pencil, Dad. Your pencils are, your HBs are upstairs. I saw him on the bench.
He's not designed any buildings as far as I can tell.
No.
Yeah, pitched a few tents, but
yeah.
No, so this Jesus movie, I mean, it's got a huge cast. This is a serious film, by the way. It's not some low budget indie. It's got John Hamm, Susan Sarandon, Christopher Walken, Tim Blake Nelson.
Christopher Walken could play Joseph Fritzl. He could get away with it.
Oh, yes.
Sorry?
I can't picture that man.
Christopher Walken? Oh, I'll find a picture of him, Mitch. You'll know who I'm talking about. I don't know, has he been in any... He probably just does movies you wouldn't watch. That guy there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, he's a creepy looking bloke, isn't he?
Well, he's
He's made a career out of being a creepy looking bloke.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it will be interesting. We should just mention also that the Jesus Rolls, this spin-off to The Big Lebowski, is a spin-off of The Big Lebowski, but it's also a remake of a very controversial film from 1974. The translation of its title is Going Places by Bertrand Blier, who was a bit of a cult filmmaker. And I haven't seen it. I might have to watch it just so we can revisit this in the next episode. But Les Valus was the name of the French film from 1974. And just reading off the bastion of factual information, Wikipedia, it's one of the most controversial films in French cinema due to its vulgarity, depiction of sexual acts, nudity, and moral ambiguity.
That's French too. The
Yeah,
French are disgusted by it.
If the French think it's on the nose, then
Yeah.
it's really stinky. And it's about a group of guys that go on a bit of a spree, on a kind of a crime spree, kidnapping young girls and sort of taking them in. And look, I have to watch the movie. It sounds controversial. So the Jesus Rolls, I mean, the mind boggles as to what this film is going to be.
Yeah, it's already got a rating of 4.3 out of 10 on IMDb, and it's not even out yet.
That's just Big Lebowski fans, or
Yeah, so people are already...
or fans of pederasts.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Don't make fun of us, like...
Finally, a film
serious
for them.
business.
When do they release these films?
The new one is
Yeah.
coming out. Let's see. It is due for release. It says release date February 28th, 2020. That seems too... it says here it had its...
That's today, isn't it?
Oh, this film has had its world premiere at the Rome Film Festival, so it has been seen by someone. We'll have to get on there and dig deeper to see what the critics have said.
Yeah, I guess.
It's released in the United States in 4 days.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. I wonder if they might not touch on that at all. It says here that hours after his release, he pairs up with some fellow misfits for a freewheeling joyride of petty crime and romance. So they might not even talk about why he was in there.
They might just ignore it. Well, yeah, but it seems tough to do that.
It does.
The guy is like the pedophile in Big Lebowski. So the Jesus Rolls coming to a cinema near you very soon, and maybe we'll do a little review. Maybe we'll get Mitch to watch the Big Lebowski. It's set in the present day. It's not a science fiction.
No, it's set in the previous. It's actually set...
Oh, sorry. It's set in the late
early 90s. It was made in 98, but it was set in like 91 and 92.
That's right.
That's right.
After that,
that's not too much of a stretch.
In the Iraqis.
Saddam Hussein, it's due to the Iraqis.
after the Gulf War.
That's right. Yeah, and he's sort of the dude is sort of a relic of the free love hippie era. Yeah, and the world has sort of moved past him, and he's still just the same old sort of doper kind of guy.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant film. If you've never seen The Big Lebowski, for God's sake, do yourself a favour.
God's sake.
And we look forward to seeing the Jesus Rolls. It could be anything. So,
Could be. Yep.
All right.
Finally one for the pedophiles.
On that note, we will leave you, and thank you again for tuning in to Dictating Terms. I have been Nick Milligan. Thank you to Joe Duffy.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you to Mitch Power.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Joe.
And don't forget, we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all the rest. So if you want to listen to us in your car and not have to have Facebook open on your phone while you're trying to drive, by all means, just listen to the audio. We would encourage you to watch the video, though.
Even if it's in your car.
There's always a lot more going on.
Yeah. Just find out where those mobile cameras are.
Yes.
And just don't watch it then.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. God bless.
Oh.